Over the years, we may have disagreed on the roles and responsibilities of the government, but everybody's kind of come together and said, yeah, they're the ones that build the roads. Well, that is until this government came around. Feds will stop investing in large road projects, Environment Minister says. Well, there's backlash coming back on this hiker. Take a hike, buddy, because you might have to. We might all have to take a hike if this guy got his way. This is obviously Stephen Guilbeault, the Climate Change and Environment Minister of Canada, put up by Justin Trudeau to, well, basically be a thorn in our sides. Well, he's come out and said that he wants to end road building in Canada. Here's what he said.
Facing a cross-country backlash, the Environment Minister now appearing to backtrack on comments he made earlier this week. Guilbeault spoke at this event where, according to a newspaper, he said, "Our government has made the decision to stop investing in new road infrastructure. There will be no more envelopes for the federal government to enlarge the road network." The blowback followed.
These comments have obviously made a lot of us very nervous that they're not going to be the partner for us.
The Environment Minister has once again demonstrated how tone deaf he is on anything to do with environmental issues.
I'm not surprised to hear that Danielle Smith is talking against Guilbeault, but to hear actually David Eby from British Columbia come out against Guilbeault, that's really something else. It really is. So he obviously made a big boo-boo, and well, he is a fanatic. This is him on the House of Parliament's floor.
You want to know the truth? Climate change is real. That's the truth. You want to know the truth? Climate change is impacting Canadians all over the country, including farmers from coast to coast, Mr. Speaker. You want to know the truth about climate change? It's costing Canadians billions of dollars. That's the truth about climate change. Our plan is working. We are reducing emissions. We're helping Canadians with affordability. That's the truth, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, the truth is their actions against climate change are affecting farmers, absolutely, costing everybody more money for food. And this is the reality of the situation. And fanatics like this, I mean, how do they survive in government? Well, they survive just fine under Justin Trudeau, apparently. Feds won't fund new roads, existing network perfectly adequate, Guilbeault says, is an article from the Toronto Sun. No more roads for you, written in this article. That seems to be the message from Trudeau Liberals after Environment and Climate Change, sorry. They changed the verbiage of that back in 2015. Got to say the full name. Stephen Guilbeault made an appearance at a fundraising luncheon in Montreal via video link, as he touted public transit and criticized governments for expanding road networks. Wow, the one thing we all kind of agree that they do. Adding that new roads and new lanes on existing roads encourage more congestion and car use. Can't have that. Can't have more people using cars. The former Greenpeace activist said, according to the Montreal Gazette, "Our government has made the decision to stop investing in new road infrastructure," said Guilbeault, who represents the Quebec riding of Laurier-Saint Marie. Now, he's saying they've made the decision. This is a decision that's been made. Of course, backpedaling ensues. But before the backpedaling ensued, this was him being asked by the media. What about your comments?
Thank you. And we'll take questions now. And
This morning, I stood beside you. You said, we don't have funds for large projects. We're talking about funding for roads. You said, we don't have funds for large projects. Your government's spending $160 million to widen the Trans-Canada up in Ministerial Reagan's place. What do you mean when you say you don't have funds for large projects to fund road networks in this country?
Thank you very much for your question, David. As opposed to the leader of the opposition, Pierre Poilievre, who seemed annoyed every time one of you find people ask him a question, I, in fact, think it's a privilege to be asked a question by you as a federal cabinet minister, and I'm happy to take your questions. I was happy to answer your question this morning, David, and I'm happy to answer your question this afternoon.
Mr. Polyev has catchy solutions.
He's happy to answer questions. Hey, you know, what do you know? He's happy to answer questions. Well, those questions didn't stop coming. But before we get to that, this Twitter was exploding over this, or sorry, X as they call it now. I'm still not getting used to that. I don't know if I ever will. There's Moe took to X to say millions for ArriveCan, which is a giant scandal. It's turning out that they gave money away to their cronies, millions of dollars of taxpayers' money. So millions for ArriveCan, not one more federal dollar for new roads. Guilbeault wants us to all to walk everywhere. The Trudeau government gets more out of touch with reality every day. Absolutely. Jordan Peterson even commenting, do you think he'll walk to Davos? Because, oh, maybe he needs to take a hike. I really, really think this guy does. Take off, eh? Watch Guilbeault. That's not what I said. Reporter, yes, it is. I can read it back to you. Of course, this is the scene of him actually backpedaling on this.
It will not be funding roads.
That's not what I said.
Yes, it is.
Wait,
I can read it back to you.
what I have said is that the solutions to our transport challenge pass by many different things, including massive investment in public transit, including investment in electrification of transportation, and of course we're funding roads. We have programs to fund roads. What we have said, and maybe I should have been more specific in the past, is that we don't have funds for large projects like the Troisième Lien that the CAQ has been trying to do for many years.
Our government has made the decision to stop investing in new road infrastructure.
I just told you that I should have been more specific in that statement and specified that it was project like the Troisième Lien, which myself and many of my colleagues have said many times that the federal government had no funds for a project like this. And you can look back and you will find numerous statements by myself and many other cabinet colleagues on this specifically.
You said we had
shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't. That's actually where we're at here now, of course, on the backpedal, because he probably got spanked when he got back home for saying what he really thinks. And this is really what it comes down to. Even the National Post coming after him. The moral preening of Stephen Guilbeault grows as insufferable as biking in January. Yeah, that's right. It's pretty brutal bicycling in Canada in January. But of course, Pierre Poilievre brought it up in the House of Parliament during question period.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, the crazy carbon tax minister has done it again. This time, he's saying that the federal government is not going to support any new road construction. I quote, "Our government has made the decision to stop investing in new road infrastructure." End quote. So he believes that people in Yukon or rural Alberta or rural Newfoundland will have to get to work riding a bicycle. Mr. Speaker, why should those people have to pay taxes for infrastructure when they can't possibly use the tramways and the bicycles that he's funding?
Mr. Speaker, the minister has already clarified his remarks. Our government's approach to investing in trade corridors and roads that Canadians rely on has not changed since 2015. We will continue to step up, and we got projects like the Samuel de Champlain Bridge in Montreal across the finish line, and we're going to get others like the Gordie Howe Bridge built. We're going to continue to invest in infrastructures. But what also...
we know what infrastructure investment looks like with this one. A sham organization that funnels billions of dollars to cronies and builds absolutely nothing. That's what we've seen with this government. Now, Danielle Smith adding comments to this. Wow, it's just unbelievable.
Well, I'm not sure I know precisely how much dollars the federal government gives, because they would obviously have major highways that we would partner with them on. But I can tell you, we're going to continue investing money in roads. Anyone who thinks that you can stop building roads has obviously not traveled outside of Montreal very much and doesn't understand how big this country is and doesn't understand what it takes to get to some of our resort communities. So I would say that the environment minister has once again demonstrated how tone deaf he is on anything to do with environmental issues. Well,
if you want to see more of this clip, of course, the links are all in the description down below, but I'll keep that at that just for brevity of the video. All the links for all the things that I cover are always in the description down below, so if you ever want to find any of that. So leave leave this with you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Where would you get if it wasn't for the roads in Canada? This has been, of course, massive government projects throughout our history, building roads across the country. This is the role of the government. This is what most people would. Anytime you argue over what the role of the government is, the roads is always the first thing that comes up. So leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you all in the next one. Keep on trucking.